And your agent is Victoria. How do you say her last name?
Marini. Yeah. So Victoria is my second agent. My first agent, um, we just grew. This shouldn't be so complicated to talk about. It's like this weird taboo, I feel like, among writers to not talk about leaving agents, but we just weren't that business compatible after all, which is hard to tell when you sign with an agent based on just what you know about them online and the first few phone calls. We were compatible at first, and then I wanted different things than I think she wanted for my career. And so in 2019, I said, I don't think we should work together anymore. I think this is frustrating for both of us. And so I found another agent. I found Victoria, who actually I almost signed with originally. Victoria was one of the agents who had offered representation on Bees back in 2013. And so I reached back out to her 6 years later and was like, you still interested in working with me? And she's forgiving. And so she said yes.
That had to be a huge thing because in 2019, that's after the first three books, right?
Um, yeah. And actually, after I had 6 books total under contract with Candlewick at that point. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge life.
Yeah.
Life change.
It was very anxiety inducing to have those conversations. I felt very guilty. I felt very convinced by her emails back saying like, no, maybe we can work this out. But like, I just had, yeah, it's a hard thing, but you know what? I know more writers who have left their first or even second agents than I know writers who have stayed with their original agent. It's not a marriage. It's a business partnership. And sometimes you just aren't compatible business wise, and there might be somebody better to work with for you and your personality. That's it. Like, it doesn't have to be personal. It doesn't mean that you're a diva if you need to leave your agent. Like, it's not a marriage. I sometimes don't like the way that we talk about finding an agent as if you're locked down for life. I think that can be a very toxic mindset, but
It's definitely very in favor of agents rather than
sure.
authors.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to realize, like I had to realize like, oh, yeah, she works for me technically. Like I kind of hired her, even though when you're querying, it feels so much like the agents have all the power because they're the ones that, you know, you're waiting for them to say yes to you. But after that, I mean, it is a partnership, but also it's your work that they're submitting. And anyway, it was hard for my previous agent. It was really hard for me to maintain that kind of dynamic. I felt very much like she knew what she was doing and I should just agree with everything that she said for my career. And so I needed to find somebody who I could communicate with and have it feel more like a partnership. So I'm with Victoria Marini, and she's wonderful.
I think if I had a hole in my roof, I wouldn't send out letters to 20 different roofers and go, oh God, I hope this is the one. Please come fix my
I
roof.
know. Isn't it a weird dynamic? It's so weird. And yet I understand why it functions the way it functions. There's a certain like gatekeeping. I think gatekeeping helps keep publishing fresh. I say with a question mark, like it's so controversial. I don't know.
Question mark, hoping you'll elaborate. Go on.
Well, as I was saying that, I also like realized that gatekeeping is also what keeps traditional publishing problematic and exclusionary and all of these terrible things that with writers of color and writers of marginalized backgrounds, like gatekeeping is very often what keeps them from having a fair shot in publishing as well. But I should say I spent like 9 months as a an unpaid intern for a literary agent back in 2012 for Mary Cole, back when she was an agent in publishing. She's doing freelance editing now, but
previous guest Mary Cole, who I think
yes,
was episode 3 or episode 5, very early,
way back in the days.
Amazing, amazing now editor.
Yes,
I assume amazing agent, but she worked for her. You tell me.
Yeah. Oh, she was great. She was so great. In fact, there's so many books that came through her inbox that went on to sell either with Mary or with other agents that I still like. Monstrous by Marcy Kate Connolly. I got to read that in manuscript form and still just remember.
Also previous guest.
Yes.
So I'll stop plugging.
No, please plug away. Your roster is
catalog of Steve audience. They're all there.
You do exactly. But Mary hired me to basically to help take care of her inbox, and among other things. And I remember being about to open her slush pile, like her inbox for the first time, and just thinking, okay, this is either going to be incredibly encouraging because I'm going to look and see that there's actually not that many amazing books waiting in here, and that I do have a shot at, getting an agent of my own someday, or it's going to be super discouraging because it's going to be 80 amazing manuscripts waiting in here. And I'm just going to realize how the odds are absolutely out of my favor. And I opened her inbox and was like, oh, I feel like I could be published, because so many of the emails were people who either were delusional and didn't understand publishing, things like, I want to write the next Da Vinci Code and I want you to split the money with me. That's not how publishing works. That's not what we're doing here.
Are you telling us Mary Cole didn't jump on that offer?
I know, what a shame. Or people who just were not there yet and needed another few rounds of refiner's fire before they were ready. And I think I have a lot of thoughts about the different kind of branches that publishing has taken, especially with self-publishing and traditional and indie and all of these, and hybrid and all of these. There's so many models and so many ways to get your books in front of audiences. And I love them all, and I have experience with a lot of them. But the gatekeeping aspect in traditional publishing, I think not only does it help weed out people who are writing the next Da Vinci Code and want to split the money 50-50, but it also teaches authors to grow a thick skin. It really is the refiner's fire that you need later. I think if you're getting used to rejection first at the querying stage, and you learn how that feels in your body, and you practice it, then later when you're being rejected by readers who give you poor ratings, or just by the radio silence of nobody really talking about your book online, I don't know, I feel like it's all connected. You have to learn how to live with rejection, and the querying process can help with that in a weird way.
And keep writing even though your heart's been repeatedly broken.
Yes. I mean, that's the job. Is you keep going, you keep writing. How important is writing to you, even with all of these expectations maybe being crushed? And if you can stick around and keep writing, then you'll survive.
So I used to have this myth in my mind that there was a point you could reach where it would be oh, now I'm here. I am the author I always dreamed of being. Goodbye, anxiety. Goodbye, bad feelings. It's all happiness from here on out. And I'm continually learning by talking to the people I would expect that to be true for, that it isn't. I had... Can't stop plugging, but when I chatted with Catherine Patterson, amazing conversation, well worth listening. She revealed that when she finishes a book, she's always convinced this is the last one. It's terrible. They're all going to hate me now. It's all over. And I'm like, no, you're beloved. The dream came true, Catherine Patterson. Everything is great. And she disagrees. Fair enough. So I don't think there is that plateau you reach where now I'm above it all. You just keep going. And even if you did reach that plateau in your professional life, there would be something in your personal life, or there's always something you've got to be juggling, I feel.
Yeah, there's no real finish line, really, which is a bummer, I guess. But also, maybe it's not a race at all. So we should stop looking for a finish line. Maybe it's just a nice stroll and sometimes a jog. But yeah, the rejection never ends. There's no point, I don't think, where you reach golden author status and no longer hear the word no. It just
No, no,
doesn't
no.
happen.
We can now be revealed. That point is coming on this show, esteemed audience. Come on this show, and then everything is great for you.
That's true. That's true. I'm very excited to never ever hear no again in my writer life. Oh my gosh, I would be a monster.